Or next one, what's something we can do to massively scale up link building to the money website so we can start ranking for rougher keywords? I have the SEO Shield citations, PR, and tiered links, but only ranking for low competition keywords. Well, I mean, massively scale up link building. I don't know that you want to massively scale up link building to the money site. What I would encourage you to do is massively scale up your second tier link building, right? Focus more on your tier one links having really, really, really well developed content. So in other words, you can go out and create backlinks on additional branded Web 2.0 profiles, maybe stuff that you don't syndicate to, but we always talk about constantly increasing your entity footprint, right? So getting a presence on more platforms. And so go out and just get a list. We've got in Syndication Academy, that's part of what we're doing for update webinars is we're going through and identifying great Web 2.0 sites that you can get a presence on. And then connect with all of your other social media profiles as much as possible. You want to create those interlinks as much as possible. That's how you make those associations, and you start to grow geometrically as opposed to linearly, right? Does that make sense? So geometric growth, the more kind of digital platforms that you can gain a presence on for the brand, the entity that you're trying to promote, and then interconnect them so that you create the associations between those nodes, right? That gets added to the knowledge graph for that entity. And so what we do, like in Syndication Academy, for example, is we try to identify additional sites that you can get a presence on, right? So create a profile on, and then publish content. Maybe it's not automated from your blog, but that's okay, because again, having a presence on those and then interconnecting it with your as many other profiles as possible, that's how you start to make that association. So through that process, you can, there are some really good blog sites out there that you can publish content on. And again, I'm not talking about automated content. I'm talking about treating your tier one content like you would money site content. So having really well-developed SEO tuned or entity tuned content, long form stuff that then you can embed you can manipulate anchor text ratios by linking back to the money page that you're trying to rank. You can also embed GMB map, GMB website, a link back to your GMB CID map URL, a link back to your GMB website URL. You can embed your money site page that you're trying to promote, because embeds are iframes are a great way to also push power into your assets. So what I'm talking about is doing long form content that's well tuned, that could rank on its own. And then you hammer on Web 2.0 sites. And then you can do to scale up your link building, you scale up your link building to those tier one assets. And that's here's the thing, guys. If any of you guys use Majestic as a backlink analysis tool, you'll notice that if you've ever compared backlink analysis from Majestic to like SEMrush or Moz Pro or Ahrefs or Ahrefs, however you say it, you'll notice that Majestic typically shows less links than any of the other tools. And why is that? Well, because they have a filter built into it that kind of filters out any of the links that have like little to no value, right? And I like that. I started testing I tested Ahrefs or Ahrefs, and we have a subscription for SEMrush. And we also, I went through the free trial of Moz Pro. I like Majestic. I've been using Majestic for years, and I wanted to see like what the differences were. And I realized after starting to try to test all these different backlink analysis tools that I like Majestic reporting only the links that really provide any value, because then I can focus on those. And the reason I started telling you that was because you'll notice that in a lot of the tools, or especially Majestic, you won't see like a lot of the Web 2 type links, Web 2.0 type links that you get back to your site. Why is that? Because they're not powerful enough for Majestic to register them in your backlink reports, right? Or to show them in your backlink reports. But this is why I'm getting at, if you can produce well-tuned content and publish it on like a Web 2 property again, and then you start to power that up, you'll see those links start to appear. And it's because they now have enough authority that they will register, that Majestic will show them in the reports. So I've been teaching over the last few weeks now about the GMB process, which, by the way, that's a good opportunity to drop that. It's free, guys. You can go, all you got to do is opt in to get my GMB process checklist. And in there, you'll see there's link building for tier 1 links and link building for tier 2 links. And I have a link building, what I call a local link building diagram, because all I do is local, that shows essentially how I set up my tier 1 links. And it's all really well tuned or SEO tuned content on those tier 1 links so that I can manipulate my anchor text ratios to get it within range of my competitors. And once it's not about the quantity of links, it's about the anchor text ratios being kind of similar or close to what the top ranked competitors' anchor text ratios are. I don't care what the number of links are, because I'm going to take with just a handful of links and I'm going to really power those up at tier 2 and beyond, if that makes sense. So what I'm saying is, if you take a look at my local link building diagram in the GMB process checklist, you'll see what I'm talking about, because I like to use Web 2.0s and such, because there's things that I have control over, as opposed to like buying PBN links that could potentially become toxic at some point, and then you don't have control over that to have them removed. Where Web 2 stuff is, I can have branded profiles on Web 2. I can put content that we tune on there and then always log back in and change stuff if needed, or delete the page or whatever if it ends up becoming toxic or produces a negative effect at some point. So I like doing that way better, and then really just powering up those tier 1 links through tiered backlinking through spam or mass links to my tier 1 links, or using some more higher powered stuff. Like I just said, I wouldn't do PBN links directly to the money site. I've tested with that recently to a degree, but I don't like doing that because you lose a level of control. But taking your tier 1 links that you have control over, the way that I'm talking about, and then buying PBN links to power those up, if that makes sense. Because with spam links, it does take multiple tiers, and it takes a long time for them to really produce an effect, and you have to keep building spam links. Whereas when you buy, like, for example, PBN links that I would never want to point directly to the money site, but you can point to tier 1 content and really power that stuff up. And those tend to have a better effect that lasts longer. And it also has a quicker effect, I found. But really the best thing is to do a little bit of both, right? Tier 1 entity tuned content, where you can manipulate anchor text ratios, and then you power it up with, for a quick hit, with PBN links. You power up the tier 1 links with PBN links, and then maybe once every month or 6 weeks or 8 weeks or something like that, you do a tiered spam link campaign to keep new links coming into those tier 1 assets on a regular basis, if that makes sense. It's a good question.